Aita for taking my family to court over not getting inheritance money. So years ago, around when I 19 female was I think about 7, my great-grandmother passed away. She split inheritance money in her will from me, my mother female 39, my aunt female 45, and grandmother female 69. However, for me as it was written, it was stated I would only get the money at 18. I'm now 19 and somehow they gave the money to my mother. She never told me about this until I graduated high school. I asked why I didn't get mine now that I'm of age and she stated, well, you'll just spend the money. I understand where she came from since people my age would spend it, but I am a little furious that I'm now in debt for college. And I could have used that money for student loans or maybe even a new car if something happens, as an example. After asking to give it to me, they each refused despite I politely asked. So I decided to take this to court after seeing a copy saying I would get the money at 18, and now everyone in my family is angered at me for standing up for myself. I believe if it's legally stated, then yes, you should fulfill, but I could be wrong as I'm young and I don't understand, plus they are my family. And I love them, but I don't feel this is fair and legal. Aita for suing my family over inheritance money. Edit. I made a few edits to help clear up some things as I was typing this up quickly without proofreading. My apologies. Update. First of all, thank you for the advice. I actually started to cry to have someone other than my dad and good friends side with me. I never had so much positivity happen to me. So I have gotten into contact with the attorney, which they missed my call by mistake, and yes, I do get the money at 18, which now I'm taking this to the courts if the relatives that were at the hearing for the will are willing to cooperate with me in settling this. If not, then yes, I am going to court about it. Thank you everyone. Up to, hey, interesting news. My mother and those who were in the will hearing refused again, and after a short investigation had spent the money that was left to me and said will. And yep, that means off to the court. Wish me luck. Story 2. Aita for refusing to help my mom financially because she paid for all my younger siblings' stuff, but not mine. I'm 26 female. I have 7 siblings, ages 23 male, 21 male, 17 female, 13 female, 13 female, 9 female, 9 male. All of us minus the twins have different dads, and she has never had a stable boyfriend. Now, being the oldest, a lot of the mother responsibilities were passed off onto me. I babysat all of the kids until I moved out at 16, and my now 17 sister even called me mom until she was 6. I taught my 4 youngest siblings how to walk, taught all of them to ride a bike, homeschooled my youngest sibling because he has learning disabilities. I also had all cooking and cleaning responsibilities and was forced into a night job at age 15 to help her support the household, as well as being a full-time student and caregiver when home. When I moved out at 16, my grandmother moved in as my replacement. I never held this against my mom, even though it was her decision to have so many kids and force me into a mother role. However, I became extremely resentful of the fact that she bought my 23-year-old, 21-year-old, and 17-year-old siblings all cars. They were second-hand, yes, but she never even offered to help me pay for a car, let alone buy me one. She also paid for at least half of their college tuition. I didn't go to college because I not only could not afford it, but I also did terrible in school due to working and being exhausted from being a parent to kids that aren't mine. It really fucked with my grades, meaning no scholarship. I'm doing great now. I have a fantastic job, my own house, and have bought my car outright. I'm proud of myself. But now that my home and car have proven to my mom that I have money, I never discuss my money with her. She has started asking for handouts, loans that I know she will never pay back, basically, as she has never paid me back before. Last night she asked for $200. Didn't say why. I told her no, and when she asked, I said maybe you should ask your other kids. You know, the ones that you bought cars for and put through college, versus asking the one kid who didn't get jack shit besides a mothering role. She flipped out and said that she never did that and that I was basically being a drama queen and needed to grow up. Aita. Story 3. Aita for not sharing my birthday money with my step-siblings. My parents split when I was 9, now 18 meters, and my sister was 7, now 16 female. My mom got remarried 4 years ago, and my dad has been dating his GF for 3 years. Right now I live with my mom and stepdad along with his 3 17 female 16 meters and 14 meters kids and my sister. My step-siblings lost their mom when they were young, so they live full-time with my mom and stepdad. I get along with my step-siblings, but we aren't really close. While my mom and stepdad both have good jobs, they make about $110 combined. We've always been somewhat poor, since we live in an expensive area and are a family of 7. But my grandmother from my dad's side is filthy rich. This has caused some issues and jealousy in the past, since she would buy my sister and me expensive gifts, designer clothes, a new phone, laptop, AirPods, etc. my mom and stepdad couldn't afford. The issue, 3 weeks ago, I celebrated my 18th birthday. It was a small party thanks to COVID with some family and close friends, but we still had a blast. My grandma couldn't make it, thanks again COVID, but send me a video message we watched on our TV. The message consisted of a sweet little speech and her telling me she decided to give me $25 for my birthday. I was stunned, thought I was hallucinating and didn't know what to say for nearly 2 minutes. Then I immediately called my grandma to thank her. My grandma wanted to know what I was going to do with the money, and I told her I was planning on traveling the world if COVID allows it after HS is done. When I was done talking to my grandma, I could see that my step-siblings were very annoyed, and they left the party a few minutes later. They have been acting cold towards my sister and me ever since. A few days after my birthday, my mom and stepdad sat me down and asked me to share the money with my step-siblings. They were saying I wouldn't need $25K to travel the world and that it was unfair towards my step-siblings. They also mentioned all the expensive gifts my sister and I got over the years. I told them that I would think about it. Now I know that I'm extremely privileged and that it's unfair towards my step-siblings, but I don't want to share the money. I want to go all out on this trip and use what's left to travel during college. Aita. Story 4. Aita for completely remodeling my deceased father's home and refusing to share my inheritance with my step-siblings. I inherited my father's house after he and his wife died in a car crash 2 years ago. After about a year in the house, I decided it was time to begin treating it like it were mine and felt ready to start thinking about renovations and furniture changes. Everything was done earlier this year and the house is completely different than what it was before, save for a single chair I decided to keep. Even the exterior colors and landscaping are totally different. My stepsisters 28, 24, 19 came over yesterday for the first time since it's been renovated. Immediately after looking around, they started freaking out about how I ruined our parents' house, and yelled and cried about how it looked like they had never even lived there. Then they complained about my dad not leaving them as much as me, how they got ripped off in the inheritance just because they were stepchildren and how unfair it was and how I should share my inheritance with them. I told them to get the fuck out of my house. Their mother was only married to my dad for a couple years before they died and we were all grown except the youngest, who was 16. It's not like he was with this woman for 20 years and raised these children. My dad left me the house and about $2 million after taxes and gave them each $200K. Personally, I think that's rather generous to leave the adult children of a woman you've only been with for a few years. Also, this woman on her own had nothing and they would have been lucky to get enough money from her death to cover the funeral had she not been with my dad. I feel like I didn't do anything wrong, but a few family members are telling me I should have waited a few years before renovating and I should have give them all some more of the inheritance. What do you guys think? Edit. I'm getting a lot of comments about this, so I should mention that they had already gone through the house and collected what they wanted of their mother's things long before I renovated, so that was not an issue.